Now it's time for another Board Game Brawl preview with Nick Meanahan, sponsored by BoardGameBliss.com. Hey peeps, today we're going to take a look at a game that is currently seeking funding on Kickstarter. That game is called The Game of Trolls. Now, if you like what you see throughout the rest of this preview video, I'm going to encourage you to go to the official Kickstarter project page. There will be a link up in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page. You can find out more information than I could possibly tell you here, and hopefully you'll consider backing the project. The Game of Trolls is a competitive card game that, of course, as the name implies, is using a lot of troll imagery from the internet, memes and such. And it's not just the imagery, that's not just what the game is. You are actually trying your best to defeat the other players by discarding your hand first. You're going to use all the different special effects on the cards to your advantage. Some of them are just things like force the other players to draw cards or to take your cards, so on and so forth. But some of them are distinctly meme-related effects, really getting into the spirit of the game. So let me go ahead and give you a brief look at how the game is played with a prototype version of the game, so bear that in mind. What you see here may differ in the final version of the game. Then we're going to come back, we'll discuss it further. Game of Trolls is a competitive game for 3 to 6 players. The goal of the game is to be the first player to discard all of their cards. To set up, shuffle the deck and deal 7 cards to each player. The dealer begins the game, and then gameplay continues clockwise. The basics of the game are this. First, start your turn by playing a card. Next, if possible, you can discard a pair of cards from your hand that match each other, without performing their effect. If you discarded the last of your cards, you immediately win. Otherwise, the game continues. You don't have to play a card on your turn, and sometimes you'll be forced not to. But in those cases, you must draw a card from the deck, and then play goes to the next player. There are 4 types of cards in the game. Green cards have no special effects. They're numbered from 1 to 3, and their sole purpose is to pair up and discard. Red cards are attack cards. Each one has a deleterious effect on other players, like forcing them to draw cards or take cards from you. The direction of the spear on the card indicates which player is attacked, left or right, relative to where you sit. 2 speared cards let you choose which direction you go, while 4 speared cards can attack anyone you choose. Blue cards are defense cards, played in response to red cards to avoid attacks. If an attack skips you, it goes to the next player in that direction. However, if you were already skipped this turn, you'll be helpless to defend against these attacks. Gold cards are all unique. They are usually wacky effects that will target the entire group, like making rhymes or doing something with your hands. Playing and resolving one does not end your turn. You must still play another card on your turn, and if you can't, you must draw. The first person to drop all of their cards is the winner, and the player with the most cards in hand at this point is the loser. These 2 conditions have several perks if you play several games in a row. For example, in your next game, if you won once, you get to choose who plays first. Whereas if you lost once, you can look at any 3 cards in the deck and choose to put them on the bottom. Multiple wins and multiple losses will get you even better effects as both a reward and a consolation prize. Now, obviously, the theme of the game is the first thing that people are going to take note of. Internet culture is just a thing. It's actually part of just culture at this point. So almost everyone is going to recognize, unless they're like 100 years old, all the different imagery on all of these cards. And even though some of them may be older memes, I think they're eternal at this point. And so everyone will know them. And it's not just that. It's that, as I mentioned in the beginning, the actions on some of the cards, especially the gold cards, go really hand in hand with the spirit of those memes as well. So for a lot of people, it's just going to be like, oh, it's like I was just on the computer and now I'm still there in that internet culture. But the game is very simple and fast. It's very accessible. It's for a lot of people, both casual and hardcore, can find something here because it's easy enough to play with casual gamers, but there is enough stuff going on in the game that for a light filler game, more experienced players are going to find something to sort of sink their teeth into in this one. The game, just even with the prototype copy, has high quality cards and is very clear cut. The rules are very easy to understand, very simple and straightforward. There's the interesting mechanism of how, because the game is so fast, you can play multiple games in a sitting, and doing so, you'll get different perks, which is something I haven't actually seen in a lot of games. It's not just there's this one perk, it's a chain of perks that you can get for both being the winner and the loser. So you don't feel quite as bad, and maybe you'll do better next time because of the perks you get just from losing. So if you like the whole aspect of meme culture, if you like just light, fast filler card games, or if you need a game that sort of caters to your taste but you can play with casual gamers, you should definitely go to the Kickstarter page and find out more information about Game of Trolls. There will be a link up in the top corner of your screen, as well as down in the description section underneath this video. Those links will take you to the page, find out more information, and hopefully consider backing the project. That is Game of Trolls. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting our sponsors. Take care. Thanks for watching. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon. And make sure to check out our sponsor, Board Game Bliss, where you can find an amazing selection of games from around the world. BoardGameBliss.com. Thanks for your support.